On July 20th, 2022, an auditor from the Clear Lake Community Watch, who will be referred to as Mr. Clear Lake, was driving past Deputy C. Vega of the Harris County Sheriff's Office as the deputy was conducting a traffic stop in Seabrook, Texas. Mr. Clear Lake rolled down his window and yelled an anti-police sentiment, including profanity, at Deputy Vega as he drove by. In response to this incident, Deputy Vega abandoned the ongoing traffic stop, got back onto his vehicle, made a U-turn, and began to follow Mr. Clear Lake. Mr. Clear Lake, acting responsibly, properly signaled and made a right turn, prompting Deputy Vega to activate his lights in an attempt to pull him over. In compliance with the signal, Mr. Clear Lake immediately pulled into a nearby gas station and brought his vehicle to a stop.
Why do you pull me over?
I'll tell you that if you roll it down.
Why can't you tell me now?
Because the reason I pulled you over is you were yelling something from your car.
So what?
Huh?
So what? That's why you pull me over, because I'm yelling?
I don't know if you need help or anything.
Oh, I don't need help.
So,
thank you.
Okay, let me see your driver's license real quick.
I don't need help.
Deputy Vega asserted that he stopped Mr. Clear Lake's vehicle due to Mr. Clear Lake's yelling from the window. Nevertheless, Deputy Vega clarified that his primary concern was for Mr. Clear Lake's well-being, rather than taking offense at the content of his speech. It's worth noting that the First Amendment prohibits government officials from engaging in retaliatory measures against individuals for their protected expression. In this situation, it is undeniably evident that Mr. Clear Lake was involved in protected activity, as protected by the Supreme Court's long-standing recognition of profanity as protected speech under the First Amendment. Deputy Vega himself acknowledged that he initiated the traffic stop because of Mr. Clear Lake's yelling from the window. However, it remains uncertain whether a court would conclude that undergoing a traffic stop resulting in a warning without any citation or arrest would be considered an injury that could deter an individual of ordinary resilience from continuing to engage in the same expressive activity. In the 2012 case of Simmons v. City of Mahmoud, it was stated that not all instances of police detention would deter an individual of ordinary resilience from exercising their protected rights.
You can just crack your window if that's what you want to do.
It's already cracked.
I can't see that.
Well,
This thing.
it doesn't matter. Here. I don't wish to answer questions.
You have to let me know if there's a weapon in the car. Did you not take the class?
I did.
Did they tell you have to tell them?
When you demand identification, I have to display this. That's what they told me in the class. That's what the law says.
The officer wants to take the
And
weapon.
actually, if I don't display, there's really not much you can do because there is no penalty attached to that. I have to carry this if I'm carrying this.
Are you carrying?
I don't answer questions.
Okay, so if you have a weapon in the car, then what?
Consequently, there exists the possibility that a court might find Mr. Clear Lake unable to pursue a First Amendment retaliation claim, despite Deputy Vega's evident retaliatory intent when initiating the traffic stop. However, the likelihood is much higher that Mr. Clear Lake could succeed in a claim asserting Deputy Vega's violation of his Fourth Amendment rights by initiating the traffic stop without reasonable suspicion or probable cause. Mr. Clear Lake, who had a holstered firearm on his right hip, presented both his driver's license and his license to carry as requested by Deputy Vega. However, when asked by Deputy Vega about the presence of a handgun in the car, Mr. Clear Lake declined to answer. As per Section 46.02 of the Texas Penal Code, it is considered an offense if a person intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly carries a handgun in a motor vehicle in plain view, except if the person is 21 years of age or older or possesses a valid handgun carry license and the handgun is properly holstered.
What is your name? Your name? Sheriff, that's your name? Sheriff?
Right above it, right there. You see it?
I'm not familiar with the English alphabet, sir.
Be on the ticket.
Okay, can I have an incident number, please? Oh, a ticket, okay.
When Deputy Vega asked for identification, Mr. Clear Lake adhered to the statute's requirements, and it was not necessary for him to respond to any further inquiries from Deputy Vega concerning the potential presence of a handgun in the vehicle. Policy 302 of the Harris County Sheriff's Department Handbook establishes guidelines for what is considered professional conduct among deputies and other HCSO employees. This policy imposes an obligation on them to provide official identification when required. Upon Deputy Vega's notification that the traffic stop had concluded, he directed Mr. Clearlake to remain inside his vehicle. Although Mr. Clearlake opened the door, he showed no signs of attempting to exit. As a response to this action, Deputy Vega drew his weapon.
Did I exit the vehicle? Did I exit the vehicle?
Give you a heads up.
Did I exit the vehicle? Hey, can I? You do have a dash cam, right? Very good. You can't just pull me over because I said the police. I hope you realize that, stupid. I'm sorry?
Do you have insurance on the vehicle?
Yeah,
Can you show it to me, please? It doesn't come back.
of course it comes back.
Not on my system, it doesn't. Also, it's not typical behavior.
According to the policy, deputies can ready their weapons when approaching potentially dangerous situations, but displaying or pointing firearms in a threatening manner is only permitted when objectively reasonable. Deputy Vega's actions removing the firearm when Mr. Clearlake opened the vehicle door might be justified due to potential concerns.
Did you read my address on the driver
It
license?
didn't have an address. Didn't have an apartment number on your driver's
Of course it does.
Let me see. Can you verify?
You've already seen it. I've already complied with that part.
I know. Okay, I'll be right back. Yeah, I say that I've never met anybody quite like you that would yell at an officer doing their job, but
So,
you have a great
let
day.
me
There's no
understand.
warnings, no fines, no penalties.
May I ask you a question?
This question's on there. There's the address.
Yeah,
There's
no, I
the-
have a
there's
question.
an incident
Can you
number
get your
on the thing right
supervisor
there.
here, please?
No,
Is the stop over?
the stop is over. You may leave.
All right.
Please don't exit until I get out. Until I leave.
Well, you said the stop is over, right?
There is no indication that Mr. Clearlake had received any materials from the public records request. Additionally, he has expressed his intention to file a complaint and a lawsuit.
For what? Failed to signal with turn indicator within 100 feet. Drew the weapon on me. He drew the gun.
In conclusion, Deputy Vega's actions are heavily criticized, earning him an F grade for retaliating against Mr. Clearlake, who is exercising his First Amendment rights. The initiation of a traffic stop without reasonable suspicion and unnecessary brandishing of his firearm are the specific reasons for this criticism. Now, moving to the next one. On February 8, 2023, a fire broke out in the quadplex apartment of college student Taylor Brown, situated in Normal, Illinois. Following the incident, both fire officials and police officers from the Normal Police Department arrived at the scene. At the request of the officers, Ms. Brown agreed to be taken to Normal Police Station for questioning. However, after waiting for more than 40 minutes without being interviewed, Ms. Brown asked to be taken back home. The subsequent interaction between Ms. Brown and the officers was recorded by an unknown officer's body camera.
Who are you on your phone with? So we're gonna have to seize your phone, so go ahead and hang up.
Seize my phone for what?
Go ahead and hang up.
Why?
Go ahead and hang up.
They want to seize my phone, but I'm not under arrest for it.
You're not under arrest, but your phone's gonna be seized.
No.
You're gonna hang up the phone.
I seize my phone, but
So-
I'm not in custody.
so listen,
There's
so-
3 of them all around me.
so listen.
FaceTime you for a second.
You listen for a second. So the fire's gonna be under investigation,
That's fine.
okay? And we're gonna seize your phone
Why?
because the fire's under investigation.
I need to know what my
So you can hand me the phone, or I can take the phone.
But I need to know what my phone's being. They're not telling me a reason why my phone's being
I just did.
But you said it's under investigation, which I
So listen to me. The fire.
That's her phone?
So the fire is going to be under investigation, and your phone's going to be seized.
The officers informed Ms. Brown that her phone was being seized due to the ongoing investigation of the fire in her apartment. Typically, in compliance with the Fourth Amendment's protection against unreasonable seizures, the government is required to obtain a warrant based on probable cause before legally seizing an individual's personal property, including their cell phone. In this particular situation, it remains unclear what evidence the officers had, if any, to suggest that Ms. Brown's phone contained pertinent information regarding the fire. However, according to a lawsuit filed by Ms. Brown regarding this incident, the officers attempted to secure a search warrant for her phone after its seizure, but the warrant was not approved by the state's attorney.
Hang up the phone and they're going to take the phone, because at this point I'm being threatened.
It's not a threat. I've asked you several times, and you're just going to go back and forth with me.
A reason as to why my
So,
phone is being taken.
so the fire is going to be under investigation by the fire
That's not
department.
a reason,
So
though.
stop. Don't
What does
interrupt
that
me.
have to do with my device?
So don't interrupt me. The fire is going to be under investigation.
Don't ever tell me not to interrupt you and I've been this calm.
So the phone's going to be seized. So in a second, I'm going to take
That's
it.
what I'm asking you. I'm
So if
asking
you-
you a reason.
so
I'm
if-
not being rebuttal. I'm asking you a reason.
So if you would like to talk to the detective, you can. Do you wish to talk to him?
Yeah, but...
Do you want to get an interview?
No, I wanted to ask him why my phone's being seized, because she said she could take me home, but without my phone. That doesn't make sense.
After law enforcement officers have lawfully obtained a cell phone, the concern of the arrestee potentially deleting incriminating data from the phone is eliminated. However, it is crucial to note that even under these circumstances, the officers are still not permitted to search the contents of the phone without obtaining a warrant, unless a court has explicitly authorized such a search. The officers made an effort to seize Miss Brown's phone, and when she resisted by pulling away, they responded by forcing her to the ground in an attempt to take the phone from her possession. Using physical force against an individual who poses no verbal or physical threat in an attempt to seize property that is lawfully in their possession would constitute a violation of their constitutional rights. However, if the individual is found to be resisting, officers may be allowed to use reasonable force based on specific circumstances. At the time of the officer's attempt to seize Miss Brown's phone, she was not under arrest, so any potential charges would likely fall under the obstruction subsection.
Miss, are you going to talk to the detective?
As a matter of fact, are you recording this?
Are you going to talk to the detective and provide an interview? Yes or no?
Is that with or without the phone?
Without the phone. The phone's being seized. Are you talking to the detective or no?
Is the phone being
I don't know. That's not my question.
I need an answer to that before.
So the question is, are you going to provide an interview?
No.
No? Okay. Go ahead and hand me the phone.
I have to know if my phone is
Nope.
being seized.
Go ahead and hand me the phone. Do not kick. Okay, push your legs out. Stop. Relax. Relax.
Mom, I'm not letting go. I promise.
Relax.
Mom, I'm not letting go. I
Relax.
promise.
We just want your phone. That's it.
We just want your phone.
They trying to give me no protection.
Assuming that the officers lack the reasonable suspicion required to seize Miss Brown's cell phone without a warrant, it's also probable that a court would conclude she could not be convicted of resisting an unauthorized act by a police officer. Once Miss Brown was placed in handcuffs and helped to stand up, the officers informed her that they would be charging her with resisting an aggravated battery of a police officer. The Appellate Court of Illinois utilized a similar statute that allowed the use of force to prevent unlawful entries into one's dwelling, resulting in the defendant's battery conviction being overturned. The court found that the defendant's actions were based on a reasonable belief that her conduct was necessary to terminate the officer's unlawful entry into her dwelling, and her limited use of force was deemed justified. Applying a similar logic in Miss Brown's case, where she may argue that she used force to protect her personal property, it's conceivable that she could potentially be acquitted of any battery charges brought against her. After her arrest, Miss Brown was taken to McLean County Jail and was subsequently released at approximately 1 p.m. the following day. Interestingly, she was not charged with resisting, battery, or any other offense related to the altercation at the police station or the fire incident at her apartment. The officers returned Miss Brown's phone to her around 3:30 p.m., several hours after her release on February 23, 2023. In response to the incident, Miss Brown filed a federal lawsuit against the unidentified normal officers involved, alleging false arrest, excessive force, failure to intervene, and battery. As of now, the lawsuit's still awaiting resolution. In summary, the normal Illinois officers received a failing grade, as it is highly probable that they seized Miss Brown's phone without the necessary probable cause and also used unnecessary force when she refused to allow them to take her phone without a warrant. Additionally, the arrest of Miss Brown resulted in charges that were eventually found to be baseless. Now let's move to the next and last case of today's video. On February 9, 2023, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine conducted a press conference at an elementary school in East Palestine, Ohio, to provide updates regarding the derailment of a train carrying toxic chemicals. During this time, News Nation correspondent Evan Lambert was in the back of the gymnasium, filming a pre-scheduled live update while Governor DeWine was speaking at the front. Two members of the Ohio State Highway Patrol and the Ohio National Guard's Major General John Harris Jr. approached Mr. Lambert and requested him to halt the broadcast, citing his alleged loudness. The ensuing interaction was captured by the body camera of one of the Highway Patrol troopers, although there was no available audio recording. Despite the absence of sound recording during the initial part of the interaction, the footage reveals an argument between Mr. Lambert and Major General Harris. Subsequently, Major General Harris is seen pushing Mr. Lambert. Following the incident, Mr. Lambert alleges that Major General Harris assaulted him, while Major General Harris claims he felt threatened. However, it is essential to acknowledge that this explanation seems to contradict the body camera footage, which shows Major General Harris as the instigator of the altercation and does not display any physically aggressive behavior from Mr. Lambert. Sheriff Brian McLaughlin of the Columbiana County Sheriff's Office instructs Mr. Lambert to depart from the area. In response, Mr. Lambert clarifies that he is attempting to listen to the press briefing and carry out his job, emphasizing that his actions are protected by the First Amendment.
Go. Just walk outside. Out the doors. Out the doors. Out the doors.
By other media right here. I'm gonna listen.
I don't care. You're gonna walk out the door.
I'm gonna listen.
You're gonna walk
Do
out the door.
touch me.
Come on out, sir. You're gonna walk out the door, or you're going to jail.
Do not touch me.
Sir, can we talk outside, please?
I'm trying to
Can we talk
listen.
outside, please?
And he escalated with me. I am doing my job. This is covered by the First Amendment.
The First Amendment of the United States Constitution explicitly prohibits Congress from creating any laws that would restrict the freedom of the press. Courts have interpreted this clause to safeguard not only the press's right to publish news, but also their right to gather and acquire newsworthy information. In this particular case, the court made a definitive differentiation between the circumstances of that case and the current situation.
That's what I thought, sir.
This is bad. Stop.
I am on the ground. What are you trying to do?
Stop resisting. Stop. Oh my God. Stop. You should get this. This is so bad.
Lay on your back. Lay flat, please.
You guys, he's a national correspondent. You cannot do this.
I'm a reporter with News Nation. It's all being recorded right now.
I hope it is.
This is
Excessive force.
horrible.
Because you can't talk to people about doing their jobs.
Oh my God, I cannot believe this.
This is what it's like to be a black reporter in
Evan, I'm so
2023.
sorry. Evan, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Sia.
Pull over, sir.
The court emphasized that the mayor did not withhold access to information that was commonly available to other media representatives or prevent the reporter from participating in press conferences. In this scenario, Mr. Lambert's reporting did not seem to cause any disruption, as Governor DeWine mentioned that he was unaware of the incident, only hearing about the disagreement that occurred after the troopers and Major General Harris approached Mr. Lambert.
You got me record all that. I did, sir. You want me to shut off? No, you can keep recording. Okay. We just need to make sure that no one else comes in here that's not authorized to come.
Rudeness or disrespect.
Hello.
We've been waiting for.
In his statement, Governor DeWine acknowledged that reporters possess the full right to report during press briefings. Mr. Lambert could assert a compelling argument that his First Amendment rights were infringed upon by being excluded from the press conference, considering that he was merely performing his job as a reporter.
It's the worst possible time in the world, okay? But there's nothing that we can do about that. He's committed to doing his live show. He's got people talking to him. He doesn't know whether.
Upon Mr. Lambert's refusal to leave the press conference, East Palestine Detective Daniel Howder and Columbiana County Chief Deputy Jennifer Tucker notify him of his arrest. Subsequently, when he appears to make a slight attempt to move away from the officers, they take action and force him to the ground before handcuffing him.
Comes over and says, I don't want you here. Okay.
He still refused.
I didn't
So
witness
now he's arrested.
I didn't witness anything.
That's his own fault. He's arrested. All he had to do was pipe up.
I didn't.
And he just kept
all
arguing.
I'm telling you is from the television standpoint.
Later in the episode, the matter of whether the officers possess sufficient probable cause to arrest Mr. Lambert will be addressed. If a court were to determine that the arrest was legally justified, there exists the possibility that Mr. Lambert could face a conviction for resisting arrest, even if he were to be acquitted of the trespassing charge. Despite the charges against Mr. Lambert being dropped, no information has been provided regarding any disciplinary measures against the involved officers, including Major General Harris. It remains unclear whether Mr. Lambert or News Nation intends to pursue legal action against any of the parties involved. On the whole, the numerous officers involved receive criticism, as they are likely to have infringed upon Mr. Lambert's First Amendment rights by unjustly excluding him from a public press conference, arresting him for refusing to relinquish those rights, and employing unnecessary force during his arrest and initial disagreement with Major General Harris. On December 13, 2022, Officer James Hinkle, a member of the Waterbury Police Department, found himself in the midst of directing traffic in Waterbury, Connecticut. This was in response to a mechanical failure that had occurred at an intersection, rendering the traffic lights non-functional. The sequence of events that ensued was recorded by the dashboard camera installed in Officer Hinkle's police cruiser. This footage will take precedence, followed by the recording from Officer Hinkle's body camera. Throughout the incident, Officer Hinkle persistently asserts that the driver was attempting to collide with him. However, upon reviewing the dash cam footage from his police cruiser, it becomes evident that he moved aggressively towards her vehicle as she passed by. Additionally, he can be heard telling her that she's fortunate not to be in handcuffs at that moment. Officer Hinkle proceeds to request another officer's assistance in completing a citation for 2 infractions: failure to comply with an officer's instructions and reckless driving, both falling under Section 14-223 of the Connecticut General Statutes.
No!
Sorry,
This means
sorry.
stop! This means stop!
I didn't see that until I was already past.
And then you still drove by me!
I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't.
License and registration now!
Hold on. Sorry. Give me a second, okay?
No, license and registration now!
Okay.
You almost ran over an officer standing in the middle of the street.
I'm so sorry. I didn't realize what was going on. That was very confusing.
It's a bright yellow jacket standing in the middle of the street. What don't you understand?
All the other cars were going.
No, they weren't. You were the only vehicle coming from that way. You almost ran me over in the middle of the street.
This section delineates the offense as failing to halt when signaled or disregarding an officer's directives. It stipulates that if a motor vehicle operator fails to promptly come to a complete stop when the signal of a uniformed officer or an officer with a prominently displayed badge, or if they defy the officer's instructions pertaining to vehicle operation, they will be considered to have committed an infraction. Moreover, Officer Hinkle cites Section 14-222 of the Connecticut General Statutes, which outlines the specifics of the reckless driving offense. Subsequently, the driver received the citation but was permitted to depart from the scene. However, the charges were subsequently dismissed. This event prompted an internal affairs inquiry into Officer Hinkle's behavior, leading to his immediate placement on paid administrative leave on January 9, 2023. Following the investigation, it was determined that Officer Hinkle had breached departmental policies through his actions, conduct, and demeanor.
Let's do a pickup.
What is such an important factor that me standing in the middle of the street,
Sir, I
stopping you, and you try to run me over?
Sir, I swear.
And then you looked at me, you
try-
waved at me, and then you kept going anyway.
I swear I was not trying to run you over. I thought you were. The cars were going.
I'm telling you to stop in the middle of the
didn't see
street,
your
and you
hand.
wave at me and keep going.
I saw your hand before, and it was too late to stop. And
No,
I
it
put my
wasn't.
hand
You
up
were doing
saying,
10
"I'm
miles an
sorry."
hour, and you still drove by me.
I'm sorry.
You didn't even attempt to stop your car.
Sir,
You're lucky you're not in handcuffs right this second.
I'm very sorry, sir. I really.
Explain to my kids why they don't have a dad a week before Christmas, because you're trying to run somebody over.
Consequently, on January 9, 2023, Officer Hinkle's employment with the Waterbury Police Department was terminated.
Before Christmas.
Sir, when I see a flashing yellow light,
It's not flashing, it's red and blue.
It was
That's a cop car standing in the middle of the street flashing lights. No, it's not an accident. You're just being irresponsible. Street. And then waves at me and still tries to drive by me. Run her, please, and make sure she's valid. A week before Christmas, I almost get ran over.
All right.
Yeah. I got 2 kids at home waiting for me to come home tonight.
sir, I'm very sorry. I felt.
Sorry doesn't break it. You looked right at me and still decided to drive by me.
I was in the middle.
No, you weren't. I was in the middle of the intersection.
Are you hurt?
Emotionally.
Chief Fernando Spagnolo, in an official statement regarding the termination, emphasized that Officer Hinkle's conduct during the encounter with a member of the community was unacceptable. Here comes our next investigation. June 11, 2018 saw Deputy Duriel Aiken from the Pasco County Sheriff's Office detaining Dr. Catherine Coker on suspicion of running a stop sign close to her residence in Wesley Chapel, Florida. It's worth noting that Dr. Coker managed to reach her home before Deputy Aiken could initiate a traffic stop. Upon reaching her home, Deputy Aiken parked his cruiser on the street and proceeded to approach Dr. Coker after she had parked her vehicle in her driveway and stepped out. Deputy Aiken communicated to Dr. Coker that should she choose to conclude the traffic stop and enter her residence, he would proceed to arrest her under charges of obstruction or what is commonly referred to as resisting.
I don't need a video. I saw you do it.
No, you need a video.
No, I don't. I saw you do it.
We'll be going to court because you did not see me do it.
Okay, if you say so.
Okay, I do say so. You guys have been targeting me and targeting me and targeting me because all the neighbors complain, and I'm not doing anything. I don't know, whatever. Maybe you took it for my insurance. I don't know. I
Can you log into it? Or no?
I don't know. I don't know how. I have no idea how to do it.
For this AAA?
Yep.
Okay. Just do me a favor, just hang tight till I'm done, okay?
Yep. Harassment.
She was hauling.
This action is in accordance with Section 843.02 of the Florida statutes, which states, whoever shall resist, obstruct, or oppose any officer in the legitimate execution of a lawful duty without resorting to or causing physical harm to the officer's person shall be charged with a misdemeanor. Dwayne Eddie Coker, Dr. Coker's husband, and a detention deputy with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office during that period, inquires Deputy Aiken about the situation. Deputy Aiken proceeded to brief him on the matter, explaining that he witnessed Dr. Coker disregarding a stop sign. This observation is consistent with the provisions outlined in Section 316.123 of the Florida statutes.
Okay. Hello, sir.
How's it going?
Not bad, and yourself?
Good, good. I'm Eddie Coker.
Deputy Aiken, how you doing?
Hey, man. Yeah, I work for HCSO.
Okay.
So I'm trying to... What happened?
She ran the stop sign.
Constantly call on me. I did not run the stop sign.
Do you have somebody showing her running the stop sign, or?
I saw it.
You saw it?
I saw it.
He didn't see it.
In this scenario, Deputy Aiken's testimony would likely hold legal weight and could potentially be enough to establish that Dr. Coker indeed ran the stop sign. However, it's important to acknowledge that a court might also consider the possibility that Dr. Coker's account is accurate and could find her version of events more credible than Deputy Aiken's.
No.
Relax.
No. It's harassment.
Well, as you can see, that's probable cause to do the stop.
Absolutely.
If she wants to take it to court, if she can take it to court, that's up to her.
Is there any way you can give me a one-time professional courtesy if I show you my ID?
We've been getting complaints in Seven Oaks in general. Because of that, we're enforcing everything.
Okay. Well, I'll be sure to let my agency know that if we stop one of you guys...
Alternatively, a court might determine that there exists a reasonable doubt regarding whether Dr. Coker actually ran the stop sign, especially if other testimonies or evidence presented during the court proceedings cast doubt on the incident. Ultimately, the court's decision would hinge on a careful examination of all available evidence and testimonies. Mr. Coker subtly implies that he holds the position of a deputy within the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, even though he is in fact a detention center deputy without law enforcement jurisdiction. He further communicates to Deputy Aiken that if he persists in issuing a ticket to Dr. Coker, he'll take the initiative to direct his department to issue tickets to Pasco County officers whenever an opportunity arises. This stands as an alternative to offering these officers a customary professional courtesy. Deputy Aiken unquestionably held the belief that Mr. Coker was a deputy sheriff rather than a detention deputy. Mr. Coker took no action to rectify Deputy Aiken's perception and certainly presented himself in a manner that strongly implied a greater level of legal authority than his official certification as a correctional officer actually granted him. After Deputy Aiken issued the citations to Dr. Coker, Mr. Coker once again requested a professional courtesy from Deputy Aiken. During their exchange, Dr. Coker left the scene and headed inside her home while using a racial slur directed at Deputy Aiken. Deputy Aiken reiterated his stance in defense of issuing the citations. He then shared contact information for his supervisor with Mr. Coker before departing the scene without any further incidents. Following this, Mr. Coker promptly contacted a supervisor to express his grievances regarding the encounter with Deputy Aiken. In this conversation, he explicitly referred to himself as a cop. Eventually, Dr. Coker successfully contested the charges, leading to her acquittal for the offense of running the stop sign. The other citations were also dismissed. However, due to Mr. Coker's behavior during this incident and subsequent internal affairs investigation, he faced administrative charges, including misdirected action in an official investigation, misuse of communications facilities, improper use of an official position, and conduct unbecoming a member of the sheriff's office. As a consequence of these actions, on January 30th, 2020, the Florida Criminal Justice Standards and Training Commission, responsible for certifying law enforcement and correctional officers within the state, made the decision to revoke Mr. Coker's correctional officer certification due to the misuse of public position.